Alright everybody, welcome back. Sorry this video is a bit late. We're going to run through all of the field types that the plantation can handle, or the plantation worker will work at. And let's go ahead and jump on into that here. As you can see, we've got about 13 of them. We've got our original 3 that we will cover here in just a second. That's our sugarcane, cactus, and bamboo. And this video is going to be a little more technical than we're used to because of the nature of the plantation fields. So you can see we've got a little scale here. We've got some information up here. We've got some information down here. Now first off, this is our new plantation field block, or hut block if you will. This is what we're actually going to be tagging when we go to tag our field location. So you can see our first one here is just sugarcane, and all of these build mechanics are not changed. They still operate on the vanilla mechanics. So sugarcane still has to be placed next to water. It's not going to magically work any other way just because it's in Minecolonies. So first off, we have our tags here. You can see we have a field tag, and that's what we'll put on the hut block. And we have our work tag, which is what we will tag the block. Now if I sneak and right click the hut block with the tag tool, you can see I've already got this tagged. So I've tagged the hut block the sugar field. I've tagged these blocks as sugar. So these are the locations that the worker will plant sugar, and the location where it plants is actually one block above. So you can see that up here. And that's what's denoted by this green block here. This is the one block that's planted, and because we have a minimum height of 3, now our 4th block of sugarcane is actually the trigger. So we will have 2 blocks of growth above our planted block. By the time it hits that 4th block tall, once that happens, the worker will then come and harvest the sugarcane. But I believe the older mechanics still apply, and that is that this block will remain and they'll harvest everything above this one. So again, you just have to tag these. Quick tag tool again. So if we right click while we're not pointed at anything at all, if I have a block pointed at, it's not going to work right. But we right click without a block highlighted, you can see our tags here. So if I wanted to redo these sugar tags, I would just delete those, type in sugar, close the GUI, and left click on each one of these blocks, and they'll be tagged as sugar again. And that's pretty much all there is to tagging. It's not that hard. Moving on to cactus, you can see that we have our field tag and our work tag. Field tag is cactus field, work tag is cactus. Oh, by the way, the maximum number of tags you can have for sugarcane, cactus, generally everything is going to operate off of 20. So you won't be able to tag more than 20 blocks for cactus, and of course cactus won't grow next to each other, which is the reason this is offset by a block. So remember that you can't tag the middle block or just have a row of cactus. The cactus won't grow, it'll consistently break itself and you'll get nowhere. It works on the same principle as the sugarcane. You have the planted cactus, your tagged block, which is the red one, planted block, 2 blocks of growth. By the time it hits that 3rd block of growth up here, or the 4th block tall, that's when the worker will get the trigger to harvest. Now it's not exactly a call and response. They don't get triggered and they don't immediately harvest. They have their own internal workings that I just don't know what they are and how they work. Max number of tags would be 20 again for bamboo, and you can see here we've got our field tag is bamboo, field, work tag is bamboo. Works on the same principle as the others, except for this one has a minimum height of 6 and a maximum height of 16. So if we look down here, we have our planted blocks, Now I'm kind of curious as to if this one will really work. He should be able to come in at it diagonally, but if you have a big block of 9 bamboo in a row, or a big square of 9 bamboo, I'm not sure if they'll be able to reach the middle one to harvest it. But anyways, we have our planted block. We'll have 5 blocks of growth, and then on the 6th block they'll get the trigger to harvest. And when he harvests, again, he should come all the way back down to here. He'll harvest that block, and then we just have to wait till it grows back up to there, at which point they'll harvest again. Cocoa beans is going to work a little bit different. We have our field tag is cocoa field. Our work tag is cocoa. Should not be capitalized. None of the tags should be capitalized. You can see I didn't capitalize it there. That was just typing habit. Maximum number of tags for this is 5, because what'll happen is, as you can see here, I've tagged the jungle log, and the worker will then come around and plant cocoa all around the log that we have specified as a cocoa field. And that's the way that works. That's why I said we only need to tag 5 of them, because we have 4 growth spots per each tag for a total of 20. So again, that's nothing too complicated there. Vines are a little bit different. Our field tag for a vine is vine field. Our work tag for the vine is vine. The maximum number of tags is 20. Now what you're going to want to do is tag everywhere that a vine will grow. You don't want to tag your initial vine spot, because what he's going to do is he's going to harvest all the spots around it, because eventually the vines will grow all around here. I need a block of something, and then they will trail down, right? So if we bring up our tag list, that includes all of these blocks of vines. And that's the way that works. The worker will wait for the vines to slowly spread, and when they spread into a harvestable tag block, which is what we're doing for this one, we're not tagging a block for something to grow, we're tagging the spot where we want the vine to harvest. And once it does that, he'll fill it in. We can break all of that again and just start the process all over again. Now the kelp farm is our first underwater farm, and this is going to work a little bit different. So the kelp farm field tag is kelp field. The work tag is kelp. We can have a maximum of 20 tags, but our minimum and maximum height is considerably different. So our minimum height is 2, our maximum height is 25. I didn't put 25 blocks worth of height here, so we will tag the floor of the water. You can see I've done that there. We have, just like sugarcane, cactus, bamboo, we've tagged the ground block that the plant is going to grow on. Now it will have the planted block, and then it's going to grow 25 blocks tall, up to 25 blocks tall, I should say, before, or not before, but it can grow 25 blocks tall. It needs a minimum height of at least 2, so it's going to grow 2 blocks tall. On the 3rd block is when it will be triggered and available for harvesting by the worker. And this is the only one that is kind of works a little bit different, because we don't want your worker to dive in, swim straight down, and then drown. So they're going to try and harvest this from a higher level, so that they don't have to do that. And you might have to have some complicated techniques or something for just collecting the kelp in a place that is, I don't know, handy for picking up. I'm not sure how the worker really works. I haven't had a chance to test all of this, but I'm going to be out of town this weekend, and I'm not going to get a chance. And when we get to doing a quick playthrough towards the end of the year here, when Sandyton is all done for the basic building part of it, we're going to get a chance to experiment and see how everything works at that point. But let's move on to the seagrass field. Seagrass is pretty easy. It's a bone meal prop. So the worker will come up and they will use bone meal on the seagrass block that we've tagged, to grow the bone meal, and then he'll harvest that. Obviously our field tag is seagrass field, work tag is seagrass. Most of these are pretty straightforward until we get out towards the more unique things over there. Our maximum number of tags is 121, so you could, in theory, have an 11 by 11 area space that is just seagrass for farming seagrass if you needed that much of it. I have absolutely no idea what seagrass is for, so I don't know why you'd need that much, but you can. Moving on to sea pickles. We have our field tag as a sea pickle field. Work tag is sea pickle. This is going to work exactly the same as the seagrass. You're going to tag a block. He's going to come by and bone meal it and make sea pickles. Maximum number of tags I have is 10, and that's probably because of the way sea pickles grow. He bone meals it, grows another pickle, and then he can break, 2, 3, 4 sea pickles at a time. I'm not entirely sure what his trigger there is for the sea pickle, but that's the way that works. It's just another bone meal crop like the seagrass. Now we get over here to the glowberries. Things start getting a little more interesting. So our field tag is Glowby Field or Glowberry Field. Work tag is Glowby Vine. I don't know why they just didn't set it to be Glowby or Glowberry. Why it had to be Glowvine, I don't know. But anyways, we're happy that we have all of these new fields for the plantation to farm, so we can't complain too much. Maximum number of tags is 20, and we will tag the block that the glowberries are going to grow down from. Now we do have minimum height requirements. There's not a maximum height requirement or a maximum height limit that I'm aware of, but we have a minimum height of 3, so we are going to tag a block. We'll have our initial placed glowberry. We'll have 2 more growth stages. On that 3rd growth stage or below, he'll get the trigger to harvest the glowberry. I'm not sure if he's actually harvesting the vine or if he's just coming over to harvest glowberries from the vine using bone meal. Again, just because I haven't had a chance to play with it. Moving on to our weeping vines from the crimson biome in the Nether. Works pretty much the same as the glowberry. You can see here that our field tag is Weep V Field and our work tag is Weep V Vine for Weeping Vine Field and Weeping Vine Vine. Number of tags is 20, so you can tag up 20 of these guys, and we'll have our Nylium that has to be planted here. And because of the nether blocks being required to plant on something specific, I suppose sugarcane's a little bit the same. It has to be planted on dirt, grass, sand. But weeping vines, same thing. We have a minimum height of 2, so we'll have our place block, we'll have a 2nd growth, and then that 3rd growth will send the trigger to harvest. Our next plantation field here is going to be the Twisted Vine from the Warped biome. This is essentially going to work the same as the Weeping Vine, except for in reverse, because we're going to tag not that block. That's not good. So twist the vine, delete that, close that. We want to tag that one. So again, we tag the block that the hut or the vine, the plant is going to grow off of. We don't tag the first block, otherwise the planter will try and come and plant the next block up and then it'll break because you just put it in midair. But minimum height of 2, we're going to place 1. We'll have 2 stages of growth. On that 2nd stage of growth, he'll get the trigger to come and harvest in his own time. So maximum height of 25, and we'll talk about these things a little bit because that's kind of important, accounting for the growth of your plants if you're dealing with upgradable schematics or schematics that can change. Next, we have our crimson plants, which I assume is just the fungus and the roots. I mean, there must be schematics, probably the warped or crimson style packs that require these, but otherwise I don't know or am aware of any uses for these, but these are just bone meal plants. Our field tag is going to be Crimson Pea Field, work tag is Crimson Pea Ground, and we will tag the ground block that the plantation worker will come around bone meal to grow these things. And just like the seagrass, before I move on here, you can tag 121 tags, so that's an 11 by 11 block area. Warped field, or our warped plants, the warped fungus, warped roots, works exactly the same. Field tag is warped pea field, work tag is warped pea ground, maximum number of tags is 121. He'll come around, bone meal the nylium, and the plants will grow, and then he'll harvest them. So that's pretty much it for that. Now let's take a quick look at our actual fields that I've made that hopefully will work. And all of this information, by the way, will be linked in the description down below to the Wikipedia article for Minecolonies that will describe all of these and tell you what you need to know and have the tags listed there, so you don't have to constantly flip around in a video to do that. So these are the technically 5 fields that I've made, primarily only 3 fields. So if we come down here, the way the hut block works is it can actually contain more than one tag. You could essentially have one field that had all of the tags that you would need for the fields, for all of the crops, all the plants. You can see I've got a little bit of a sunken water pool, kind of an oasis thing here, and I've got all of these spaces tagged with sugar. And of course the initial plantings are taken care of. We've got our cactuses all spaced out so that it will grow and not conflict with something else. And we've got our bamboo that is all spaced out so that you can walk around and through them. I could probably add a little more decoration to this if I wanted to, but that's just a little bit more work to do. Now, if for some reason you wanted to make this an upgradable schematic, you would, of course, have your plantation field block. I'm assuming this can hold instructions for upgrading, and we don't have to use a decoration controller, but if you are upgrading things, you need to fill in all of these spaces with placeholder blocks so that when you upgrade, the builder does not come along and break all of your crops. You could actually, if you wanted to, you could actually replace all of them with something just to be on the safer side a little bit. But that's something to be aware of if you decide that you're going to have upgradable schematics. So all of these need to be, covered vertically. You would replace the water with placeholder blocks in here so that as the kelp grows up, it doesn't get replaced. Again, you would have, I didn't place any cocoa beans, but this is one of my tagged blocks here. We can view that anytime if we just sneak and right click on the hut block here. So I would have placeholder blocks placed all around that log. And you can see we've got another nice little oasis for our sea products field. And you can see I didn't tag everything. I wanted some of it to be purely decoration. This sea pickle is purely decoration. That one is decoration. This one is a grow spot. That's a grow spot. This seagrass, these ones are grow spots, but this one is not. Though I imagine if he comes along and uses the bone meal, that me adding in this decoration seagrass and sea pickles might be slightly redundant. I don't know if he'll grow sea pickles off of bone meal, but the seagrass should definitely spread and expand, and in which case it'll fill that in. I didn't really need to do anything there. And yeah, so that covers that. We've got our cocoa beans, we've got our seagrass, sea pickles, and kelp are all in this farm. Of course, we've got our bamboo, sugar, cactus in that farm. This farm is just for glowberries and vines, and I left the vines here just so they were visible. But you can see that I've got a nice, I don't know, arbor or something set up here. Nothing too fancy about it, just some sandstone mixed in with the sand to add a little variation there. But you can see we've got our cave vines, our glowberries. I thought they were glowberry vines. I didn't realize they were called cave vines. But we've got our glowberry vines. They're growing on these blocks here. And again, our vines are not set to harvest our growth, our seed vine, if you will, but all of the growth vine below it. And of course, none of that will come with the schematic, because otherwise that's just all the vines that you have to collect just so you can build the schematic, just so the worker will collect the vines again. That's a bit redundant, so the growth doesn't need to be there. Obviously nothing is growing because I've got my tick speed set to 0, and nothing is dropping because I've changed the game rules because I don't like a mess in my build world. But that covers that. The two Nether fields, I included them. No particular reason to. I don't think anything I've built so far requires anything from the Nether. I don't know that I'll make anything require that. But our Nylium block is up here for the crimson or the weeping vine to grow from. We have our tag blocks down here for him to bone meal and grow the crimson plants. And the same thing is over here. Well, I mean, it was supposed to be over here. So you can see I kind of failed to tag that. We've got twist weave vine, so if I close this, I would tag that block. Update this to field, tag the hut block. This becomes warped P field, tag the hut block, click off of everything, warped P ground, and we will tag these blocks, and then that field is set up. That's all there is that it takes to do that for you. Once you've got the actual schematic made, you would just save that. To do that, now generally where these are going is basically you would have your style name, in my case Sandyton, agriculture, fields, and then this would be warped field, and that's where you would save that. That's the file structure for these. We'll cover the file structure in greater detail towards the end. As another video, but that's gonna wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. If there's any errors, corrections, or anything I have to make, those will be made as necessary. As always, I appreciate you joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.